there's lads that fall through the nets. I've played with players over the years that have been like I'm not trying to say better than players that are playing professionally now, but like I would have felt were like excellent players like Craig here. Like,
Oh, you two stop it.
That was a joke, by the way.
Joe presents House of Rugby, United Rugby Championship, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.
Hello and welcome back to House of Rugby URC. Plenty of URC to look back on this week, guys, and of course the small matter of Ireland's huge win against England in Twickenham. As always, I'm joined by my good pals, Megan, Greg. Megan, first of all, welcome back.
Yes, thanks. Great to be back. I missed you guys last week.
Yeah, we missed you too.
Looked like you had a good time with the girls now.
We did. We enjoyed ourselves, but look, I'd say put up with Greg as usual. Greg, how are you?
I'm great. Good win for Ireland that we'll get stuck into, but I want to introduce a really good friend of mine, Connacht rugby player, Conor Oliver.
How you doing, guys? Really happy to be here.
Good to have you in, man. Yeah, we'll get stuck in now to you in a while with 10 questions, but first of all, should we talk about the Ireland-England game?
Yeah, obviously we watched the match. You were at the match, myself and Megan watched it home. What do you make of it?
Yeah, look, I thought it was a good game. Obviously, the red card in the first few minutes might have affected the game more than it actually did in the end. Unfortunately for Ireland, I thought like, look, it was a good performance, but there was like parts of the game where we need to look at, maybe around the scrum and stuff. I think that was a big factor in keeping England in the game when they went down to 14 men.
Yeah. I mean, lads, looking at that scrum, I mean, there's a lot of talk about it. Do you think there was something fishy going on there? Because I think there was, because there's a lot of wheeling going on there. There was a lot of penalties. Look, come here. I've never been in a front row in my life. I think anyone here has, but
yeah, I was going to have an opinion on it there. But might as well ask Conor, who's actually been in the scrum.
Yeah, you're actually
been in the front row.
Yeah, well, I'm on the side of it, so I don't really. I was trying to hang on to that.
It looks like you could be in the front row.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry. But blow the belt, does it? Yeah. But no, listen, I wasn't really too sure. It looked like England's had the upper hand. Obviously, I think one or two went Ireland's way as well, but I think once the referee sees that much dominance on one side, I think it's hard when it goes 50-50. Those calls normally go for the more dominant side. I think that's what we saw.
Do you think it was Furlong getting overpowered by Genge? Was he on his side?
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of tough when they're wheeling around. It's tough because sometimes the tight head has to ease off if he's going around, and it's going to wheel the opposite way. But look, Genge is a top quality operator as well. Like you can't ignore that fact. I know it was a disappointment, but like their top front row, like England's front row, is probably one of their main strengths. I think going into that game as well, I'm pretty sure they even kind of brought that up midweek as well. That's going to be a massive kind of
area they were going to target.
A dominant area for them, and they did. Look, Porter was obviously missing as well. Not saying Keane Healy's an excellent player as well, but the strength of Porter in the scrum as well, I think we've seen from previous games, might have been missed a bit.
Before we get into the actual game itself, let's into the meat. Quick mention for probably the tackle of the game, our pal Jarvo69. We have a clip.
The best tackle of the game.
Look, that seems funny for a few games, but I think everyone's sick and tired of him, and we're glad to see he got smashed, even though it wasn't a no-arms tackle.
I think it's so. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so
this
funny.
Is the streaker guy, is it?
Yeah.
I saw a clip of him getting escorted out, but I didn't actually see the actual hit.
So he hopped the fence again and he ran into the end of the England line and stood there for like.
He had the jersey and everything.
He only got his couple seconds this time. Yeah, he was all kitted out.
Smashed it.
Bulldozed him over. It was hilarious.
You'll see it when the show goes.
They should maybe let the players sort him out and see what happens after that. See if he comes back, because he did it in the All Blacks game as well. Didn't he?
Did it in the Wales All Blacks.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what the players think. Like they obviously see him come and standing beside.
You saw it. Like when I was watching the national anthem, the England guy was like this. Yeah. And then just carried on singing. He was like so shocked.
What would you think? You're a messer, like Joe.
Yeah, I like to have a bit of laugh and joke, but I think during anthems and stuff, I think that's a bit of a personal thing for like the players playing, especially Six Nations. Like
making your debut or something, like you're out there to the anthem, like for with your country.
I think making your debut, you'll probably be down near the end of the line as well. So like, people are like, you might think he's on the team or something if you don't know the boys too well. But yeah, I think. Look, streakers, they're funny. There's a time and place for them. I don't think. Anthem, especially Twickenham, Ireland v England, probably the biggest rivalry. Yeah. Like, lads are going to be up for that game. Then you see this random guy beside you, like, could be a bit off-putting, but...
Yeah. Remember the lad in the Wales game that threw the beer onto the pitch? Yeah. He's banned for life now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he can't be... that's kind of disrespecting players and stuff, you know.
Exactly.
Like, I'm all for laughing at a joke, but I have to draw the line at some point, you know.
So I'm interested to ask you, because I know you like a bit of a joke now and again, but obviously there's a balance with it all.
Personally, that's what I think. Leave the anthems off and maybe play half time. Go for it, I say.
Other than that, run on false naked on the sports ground.
But anyway, we have to talk about, there was another massive hit with the red card at the beginning of the match as well, like you said. Would you agree with the ref? Like, was it a red card? Because I suppose he has to justify what happened last week with the Italian player. You know,
I think Ewells can't complain after that. I think Eddie Jones said it. I think everyone else said it. You come in that high, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, 100%. Especially James Ryan. Like, how tall is he as well? Like, you know, you take that. Fair enough if it's maybe James Gibson Park, like a small player, maybe Greg. Like, me and Greg kind of be a bit of an unfair match, but look, they're both like ridiculously tall guys. There's not one dip. I think, or the minute I saw it, look, there was no maybe force behind it. Like, I don't think there was like bad intent behind it, but you need to dip, and especially then like I said, if lads are that tall and you're still hitting them high, like there's has to be a red card for me, and especially I know. Shouldn't really be outcome based. It should be like the intent and where it was. But look, that was James Ryan's game gone. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, disappointing that he didn't get to carry it on.
100%.
Speaking on that, lads. I mean, he's 25 now. Yeah. He had to see a concussion specialist in December. Yeah. We've seen that with Caelan Darcy. So we've seen a lot of guys losing their careers, 27, 28, 29, 30 because of concussions. Yeah, it has to be a real concern for him now.
Yeah, it seems like lads going to have to take a break. Johnny Sexton did it for a while. He took a couple of months out, and obviously he's back now at 36, re-signed again. So maybe he's just taking sabbaticals during the year. So have you had a few in your time?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough. Like, I haven't had like any major ones where I've been out of games for weeks. I've got like a bang here or there where I've failed the protocol afterwards. Basically, if you have any symptoms at all afterwards, you fail the protocol. There's no grey area really anymore. Okay. So listen, if you're not feeling right, that's it. And I think now with men's like senior profession, I think it's 6 days. There's a protocol from when it happens. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's enough, Conor. I mean, I did a thesis on that only not too long ago, complaining that was too short. And Rugby League are recently after upping theirs to 11 days. Yeah. I mean, 6 it's not a long time. When you think about it, if you got a concussion and you had an office job, you wouldn't be back and working 7 days. Like, you wouldn't. Yeah. Never mind a contact sport.
I'm presuming there's kind of people arguing that 6 days so they can play the next match the next week. Like, but 6 days, I haven't been concussed in ages.
It's all down to feeling, isn't it? And that's the hard thing about concussion. With injuries, you can scan them and you can see if the ligament's torn and stuff. For your brain, it's different. It's all about how you feel. And obviously, look, most people that play rugby, they want to get out and play the next week.
You want to lose your spot.
Yeah, if you're in a professional environment, especially the Ireland team now, like every position is so competitive. If you miss the next game or you miss the training up to the next game, you're not going to get selected. And then if that player comes in and plays well, you could find yourself back in your province fairly fast, like, you know. So especially in like a highly competitive environment, I can sympathise with lads coming back early. I really can, because I'd probably do the same myself. Maybe seeing all the studies coming out now is starting to change my view on it. Like a few years ago, I would have maybe
taken a chance,
not ignored it, but I wouldn't have taken it as seriously. And I think World Rugby are doing a great job of putting it at the forefront of injuries. I'd say it's probably one of the main injuries now that like players are missing games, which is great. Yeah. Like, you only get one brain, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really mess around with it, like, even though
they are taking
I might not have many cells left, but
of course you're going to have the competitive edge, especially during a match. You're going to have the adrenaline to, no, I'm going to keep going. Like, if you twisted your ankle, you're going to keep going. But I suppose that's why they're bringing in the HIAs and all that stuff. And there's actually a fourth doctor. They call it the fourth doctor or something?
Independent doctor, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, sits in the stand and literally just watches guys for getting knocked out. So it happened in the Wales game as well. The scrum half got knocked out. He got brought off the pitch, got called off. So it's just there. But like, how are you supposed to know how many days is perfect? Because we're all different brain-wise as well. Do you know what I mean?
That's why the doctor in the team, they work so closely with them week in, week out. You build that really good, strong relationship with them. Yeah. So you can kind of
get your baselines during the year.
Do the baselines and stuff. Yeah.
But it was overall, like you said, the competition for places is absolutely huge. And I thought the performance from Ireland, was a really good team performance, especially with the players coming off from the bench.
Do you think,
I think Andy Farrell will be really pleased with certain elements of the game. Obviously, there's loads of things to improve on. But Joe, for me, the back three was so impressive. Yeah. Andrew Conway, James Lowe, and especially Hugo Keenan was absolutely outstanding. Yeah. I just think he didn't drop any of them high balls. Like we said before the show, he was
Anyone think was Porto? So anyone you think was poor on the day? I can pick a few players I thought were poor that will have to look at themselves after the weekend, because I think we look at that match, it was 32-15.
Yeah.
Bonus point win and Twickenham huge, but there's a lot of guys who went up and were looking at themselves after that game.
By the
You'd
way,
be the bad guy today.
Come on, you tell me. Go on,
So we were talking about, Ian Henderson.
See?
Had a poor match.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like, as good as they were, like, there was a lot of things to look at. Like, I thought Henderson gave away, what did we say before the game? Was there 5 or 6 penalties he gave away? Silly penalties and not
ones in front of the post, which were their 3 points. 3 points in the test game is massive. That's what kept them in the game. I felt was just these kind of small handling errors just inside the 5 metre line. These offloads maybe not going to hand. What happens after an offload? A scrum. What happens after the scrum? Penalty. Then you're back 60 metres and for like everyone on the team, especially pack of 4, is getting put back 60 metres, having to defend another maul, which I thought England's maul was pretty strong as well, even though they were missing them second row. But it was just like, it's like you have the pressure on them. Like, then there was the smallest pressure release. Like, I thought the foot was on the throat there, almost scoring. One of Tadhg Furlong's offloads didn't go to hand. That was, if you scored there, like before half time, it's going to be a different game.
Really weird for Ian Henderson to be giving away penalties like that, though. But like he's captained Ireland a couple of times. He's a Lions player twice now, I think.
2 times British.
Like, what's he doing lying on the ground, like playing with the ball over his head? And stuff? Come on, man! Like, he'd be killed on Monday morning review.
I think there's 2 ways you can look at that game. Like, you can be the cynic and you can say, look, they were down to 14 men and it took Ireland to the last minute basically to win the game. They clawed back to 15 all. Or you can say, okay, England lost a player, right, in Twickenham in front of 82,000 people. Right, all of a sudden their backs are against the wall. They're in trouble. What do? They react. The game plan goes out the window and they went back to the old England and they just brutalised Ireland, and Ireland didn't adapt. So I think just like you saw Eddie O'Sullivan saying yesterday, like, that he wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid and he was giving out, But like, I think there's 2 sides to that story. Yes, Ireland probably should have been better, even though I got a bonus point in Twickenham, and it's a record win against England.
I don't agree with you 100%, Jason. I actually thought Ireland coped really well under that pressure. And was very calm at times, especially when kind of Conor Murray came on. Like, Gibson Park is very, very good.
My friend Conor Murray.
Exactly, yeah.
I was fighting for Conor Murray to pick last week.
Fighting him on the bench this week.
So just before you finish your point, I said Conor would get picked, and I said the match would be 32-14, 32-15. So
continue, Megan. Anyway,
right, go
continue, Megan. Leave him off.
No, but you're right. Like, but Conor did come on, controlled the game really well, because Gibson Park is really good with the upbeat tempo. There's quick tap and goes, really putting England on the back foot. But then when Conor came on, did slow the game down to kind of get that control. But I did think they did really well under that pressure, considering they were playing against the 14 men. It's hard because Ireland had everything to kind of lose, but England didn't. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I appreciate that, yeah. It's nice not to be the cynic at times. It's a nice way of looking at it.
Yeah, I just think they went up against 14 men, and after a minute and a half, and if they're going to try and be one of the best teams in the world, try and win a Six Nations, try and do well in the World Cup, they can't be not dominating against 14 men. I don't know what you think, Conor.
But they did. They scored more tries than them.
In the last 10 minutes.
I like this. I'm in the middle.
Like, for example, Hugo Keenan taking the ball in the air and making so many meters gained. There was a load of lines. Robbie Hendrick coming on, making breaks.
I agree with that. I also thought that the Irish team didn't give him enough protection as well. I felt he was going up a lot of the time, catching it, and he was getting smoked. He was getting man on ball. Fair play to Hugo. He's amazing in the air. And for me, he was my man of the match. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I thought he didn't make one mistake in the whole game. But I think they were putting bombs on top of him. He was diffusing them, and then he's getting smoked. And then that ruck was getting pressure. One point, I think, I don't know, England player, but he was at the ruck before the Irish player was.
He got there quicker before the Irish players got there.
You can even see the hunger, like you said, down to 14, it's backs against the wall stuff. It's like, listen, we have to go here. You have no other option. You don't have the comfort of an extra man to chase, so everyone has to go,
Yeah.
So similar with the Italy game, they went into 13, they just went, and it kind of worked out sometimes. Obviously not in the end, but with Ireland again, them last few tries kind of came in the last 10 minutes. Like, you have to look at the game before that. Like, I thought that their attacking play and their starter plays were amazing. I thought the way they get the ball into space was brilliant as well. And just the pace they're putting on the ball. Every time that the next player catches the ball, that next acceleration, I thought, to get into outside channels was excellent. And as you said, like even I thought Conway was excellent in the wing. Those 50-22.
Oh, two of those kicks were amazing.
One was right in the touch line.
Yeah.
It looks like almost like one of those old school banana kicks.
Yeah.
Came back in, bouncing 22. And I don't think the touch he gave it as the 50-22 at the start.
In the end, he didn't know, he wasn't sure.
He had to review it.
He had to review it.
And then Conor gave a nice little smile. So
I think you made a good point, Megan, about the bench. So I mean, I think that's a problem we've complained about Ireland for years, right? Like especially going to World Cups, how big a squad we have. We brought 4 lines off the bench. Imagine like the reason we're able to close that game out in the end. Robbie Henshaw, Irish Player of the Year, off the bench.
Murray.
Jack Conan, starting all 3 tests over summer. Murray, who was the line's captain for a while during the summer. You brought the 3 of those guys off the bench. That is, and Henderson as well. I know Henderson didn't have the best of game, but still.
But what's great about the players that came off, they know their job, they know their role, that you have to make an impact coming off the bench. And that's exactly what they did. And they won the game at the end for us, scoring those last 2 tries.
Henshaw was exceptional when he came out, wasn't he?
Yeah,
amazing.
like
He was getting through, man.
Just his acceleration to contact and just his footwork as well is amazing. I think like every time he plays a game, he makes a massive difference. He would have been gutted not to be in the starting team, and when that happens, it gives lads kind of kick up the ass as well to when they come on.
But Bundy had a good game though, didn't he?
Bundy has a good game every time he plays. I think he's so solid. That aggression he brings to the game as well. Obviously, like he's the same in training with us. Like he trains as he'll play. Like and that's you always know what you're going to get from Bundy. He's going to give 100%. He's going to bring that kind of aggressive edge to the back line, the physicality. But then like so Robbie does as well. Like the centres at the moment, like it's hard to pick them, especially after the weekend as well. I say Faz have a bit of a headache.
Yeah, I'd love to see Robbie get to start next week. You know, Gary played well and Bundy played well. But love to see Robbie get 80 minutes. Yeah. And also, I was actually watching the game yesterday with Jacob Stockdale. He's injured, so he was over there, and I was chatting to him, and he was probably similar to you. You probably recognise it. He says Robbie Henshaw gets through such ridiculous work that the normal punter wouldn't notice. He said he's one of the best players in the world because he just does little things like hitting rocks or creating spaces or chatting. And he said that's why he's the best in the world, but people don't realise it. You know what I mean? It's incredible. So I'd love to see him start next week. Definitely. I saw a lovely post on social media by Connacht, actually, you might appreciate. I don't know if you know the story, but Connacht had a picture up after Findy got the bonus point try. He hadn't seen his family, was it 3 years or something? 2 years. And there's a picture of his dad crying, like, and his mother there, like, and I was like, well, that's a pretty cool moment. You don't know about, you don't realise, like, and he got a try like, in Twickenham for the bonus point for Ireland, and his parents were there for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, it was amazing for him. Like Finley's such a nice guy as well. You know, like when I saw that picture, it actually gave me kind of goosebumps in a way, because I was actually like delighted for him. Like, you know, it's great to see that as well. Obviously, like, his family are back in Australia as well, and obviously the way Australia were around COVID regulations and stuff, it didn't give him an opportunity to go back, to get back, or even to get back into the country and stuff. It was a bit crazy over there for a while. So to see that, like, especially in such a massive game for him as well, and to get the little bonus point try at the end was huge. And it's great to see all the families kind of back in full swing of things at the games and stuff, and you can see what it means. Yeah.
I love the post Irish Rugby put up a picture on social media of all of them with their families. Yeah. That's a lovely touch. It was really, really nice.
It's massive.
World's back to normal.
It is, really. Like, I was just home as well last week. That's why I was gone, because I went back and I flew into England, and you just burst into tears. Like at the airport, and I seen your parents. It was the first time I got to fly over with my little boy, and it was very emotional. Yeah, but anyway, back to the game. Joe, I just wanted to mention like James Lowe and Mac Hansen. Joe, because obviously put James Lowe in because he thought he was going to kick it a lot more of his left boot. And I thought he had an incredible game. But I do think at times he was a little bit greedy with the ball. There was, he went into contact, should have passed before contact. And then that 50-50 pass and losing the ball a couple of times in contact. What do you make of his performance, Jay?
It's tough to look at Lowe. I mean, like, overall, I think you're right. Overall, he was good, but that's sometimes he'd force the offload. Yeah. But at the same time, if you look at the build-up into Conan's try, there's 2 or 3 times we held onto the ball in the corner, and any other winger was going into touch except him. And he's so powerful and strong on the ball that you can't move him. And there was a couple of times where he's in a little channel, maybe like a 1 metre channel, and he beats 2 players. Yeah. And like, that's what he brings you. And he's completely different to any winger we have, I think.
Yeah, look, obviously they brought him his left boot as well. Like you said, I think that's why he kind of got brought into the team massively. Obviously, he didn't get to use it as much as they maybe liked it. But like he's so powerful, he breaks every tackle. obviously you have like Mac Hansen, which I try not to be biased over, but like,
class,
but you can't deny his X factor either and his ability to finish tries. Like Lowe might run through 2 lads, but Mac could probably run around them. Like, you know, it's chalk and cheese. Like it's just a different way of playing the game. I hope so. Like I thought he burst onto the scene. I think when a player is playing that well, you need to keep playing them. They're in form. They need momentum behind them. And
were you chatting to him? How do you feel about not getting picked?
I didn't even really want to ask. Like, it's one of those things. Like, sometimes you don't get picked. The amount of people texting you and stuff like that. Like, the last thing you want to do is be hearing from me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, asking, because then you might think I'm trying to get an inside scoop on it or something. But like, look, Mac's a very competitive person, and like he's burst onto the scene. I don't think he even saw this coming for himself. But like, from that first game from Connacht, he just went up and up and up. Like, you know, and look, Conway played excellent the weekend, like we've said multiple times. Lowe played well. It just depends what kind of game plan Andy Farrell wants to go with, really. Like, you know, they both suit, can fit into each game plan, but maybe a physicality, then there's like...
Physicality against England, you need that.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it great we can do that now?
Against England as well, like, you know, I think they were saying, look, we're going to be massive physicality team.
They were.
They didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
That's what Eddie Jones said all week, that they were going to come out and try and beat us physically. Like.
Yeah.
And they nearly did.
They nearly did.
And you said they came in at the end, last 15 minutes. The bench just dominated and we got the win. We got the bonus point in the end, which is overall it's actually unbelievable. Like 32-15 bonus point win.
But isn't it great we can do that now? Like, you look at New Zealand and South Africa over the years, we can, we're playing this team, let's put Mac Hansen in. Yeah. We're playing this team, let's play James Lowe. Like yesterday, O'Mahony went in and said, Conan, you're dropping a 3 test, a guy who started all 3 tests with Lions. We have that. We can afford that.
Yeah.
And if something happens to Mac Hansen, if he gets injured, or James Lowe gets injured,
same thing with the centres as well.
If anyone gets injured, it's grand, he'll go in there. That's fine.
There's some Henshaw coming in, like if you want for more physical, like him and Bundy or him and Gary. You could do, like, there's so many ways you can play it. Like,
so it's a good way of looking at it. Like.
I thought England were very physical, like you said, in the forwards, but in the backs, they didn't look like scoring at all.
Yeah. It was funny. I was at the game working yesterday, and the amount of English backs I interviewed, which could have been starters, Anthony Watson there, Johnny May there, Jonathan Joseph there, all of them injured, sitting around like just waiting to get back in. And I was asking them, so what do you think? Like, Max Mayans is there, Freddie Stewart, and Jack Knowles just come back in, and they're all always giving the political answer. Delighted for the boys. Like, really good. I was like, come on now. Like,
be honest.
None of them give you anything.
None of them give. The most honest we've had is Ross Byrne a couple of weeks ago. He was like, if someone says that they're not happy when the person in their position plays badly, is lying. Like, do you know what I mean? He's like, you want the team to win, but the guy in your position to play badly. So I just see England, like, I think they'll be really good next year when all these guys come back in, and they're really good for the World Cup. I don't know if you think, but like, they seem to be chopping and changing a lot in the English.
They're in a bit of a learning phase. Yeah. I think that's what they're just building, like Eddie Jones said, for the World Cup, and just trying out different players. And you know, Marcus Smith, I thought was lovely, because even Johnny Sexton at the end of the game to him was like, fair play, Joe, you controlled that game really well. You know, keep it going. I think that was a lovely little moment between the two of them. You can see how well he did control that game with 14 players. It's so difficult for such a young guy.
Yeah, no, it's true. Look, he's that X factor player as well. Yeah. Like, he can change a game up as well. Like, you know, he pull a rabbit out of a hat. Yeah, very easily. Like, you know, so I think he's been going excellent for England.
He kept them in the game with the penalty kicks again.
Yeah, I think his game management is getting a lot better as well. Obviously, look, he's the poster boy for Harlequins. You know, like, look what he's done for Harlequins, like, you know, and he can 100% produce that for England as well. It's just him getting used to players around you. I think especially as like a scrum half and an out half, and you used to play players regularly to understand how they want to play the game. I think the more he plays, the better he's going to get.
I think if they get Farrell back as well, that would be massive for him, because it takes a little bit of pressure of having to lead that back line, and he can just have his X factor. Like.
I think that's good, but I think sometimes you need to let a guy do his thing. Like,
sink or swim.
Do you know what I mean?
They played together a few months ago. They were really good. They're both interchanging.
I think that's cool, but sometimes, like, not that I know they're half or anything, but sometimes you can feel that happens. You can almost, he might be wanting to do one thing, and then you end up hesitating. You might be pulled back a bit from what he maybe would have done if he was there with himself. But I do agree with you. Younger, but I think he's plenty good enough, and he has enough experience now to go out there by himself and be like, he's a world class 10 already, but like top in the world 10, like, you know.
And do you think they can do the job for us next week and beat France?
100%. I think so. Listen, they're going to be kicking themselves over the weekend, like, you know, they almost had us, but like, that's going to be an absolutely massive game. I'm looking forward to that when I talk about physicality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? like that's going to be insane too.
Just after
two
the weekend,
juggernauts going at it, like, you know, like just huge men. Just it doesn't really get much better in Test rugby, does it? Like, you know?
But yeah, before the weekend, I thought like, no way, if England going to beat France instead of France. And after seeing that performance against us, I'm like, they might do it. Like,
they might need to get another player sent off.
I guess so. Spur them on.
Do you remember that game years ago? I can't remember. Was it 4 or 5 years ago? And we was like, come on to Super Saturday. We were trying to win the Six Nations, and it was England and France in Paris, and France had to win, and France were like 4 or 5 tries ahead, and England came back, and it ended up being like the craziest match. I think something like that's going to happen this weekend. It's going to be nuts.
I hope so. Anyway.
I hope so.
But even look like the French and the Wales game. Like, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't as good as France have been as well. You know, I thought like there's a few kind of few things in there that didn't.
But exactly, like
we'll move on to that.
We'll move on to that game now. It was 13-9 in the Principality Stadium, and it came down to like literally the last play. Like the French boys were jumping around like they'd won the championship. So it was a close match. Sure, Wales have really kind of slowly just got better and better throughout the championship, haven't they?
Yeah, look, 100%. Look, Wales are always an excellent team. They can be hit and miss sometimes, like, you know. But like I thought, like they brought the physicality to France as well. Like I just felt maybe in the attacking phases they're finding it hard to break France down and stuff. Well, as you would, like with the size of the French team.
France are so clinical. I think I heard a stat yesterday that every try they've scored in the championship has been within 5 phases. So they just
crazy.
They just see the opportunity over there. We're going to get there within 5 phases and score a try, which is nuts. Like we in Ireland, we go through like 10, 20 phases, which works. Like, but
they play up the middle as well, which is insane.
Yeah.
I've never seen a team do that in years. Like they play it up the middle. Like they make their gaps inside the small channels up the middle, which is I guess just Dupont sniping around and looking for these little pops inside and outside. You're like, how are you doing this?
But he's so good at that. He always snipes. You think they would know that he's going to do that by now as well?
It's one thing saying it, like it's easy to say.
In the moment.
It's like trying to stop Cristiano Ronaldo.
So many gaps.
It's his strength as well, though. You know, like he's. I know he's short, but like you see him bumping off forwards and stuff, handing off forwards. Like,
have you played against him yet?
No,
unfortunately.
We'll see now if you can stop me.
I'll be there, man.
But like looking at the game itself, I mean, like first 20 minutes, France looked alright, scored a nice try, but like Wales in the Principality, I remember I said at the start of the game, you see them singing their anthems. They rarely lose there, and they were always going to be in the game. That second half was all Wales. They dominated them. France were poor, but Wales dominated them. They had 5 or 6 chances where they could have won that game. The Jonathan Davies knock on. I think Wales will be kicking themselves.
But Wales always do that at the beginning of a match, don't they? The last few matches they've played, they've always started really, really slowly, the first 15, 20 minutes, letting in early tries, and then they do come back, but too late at the end.
I thought they were good. I thought Bigger was excellent. I thought his kicking out of hand was brilliant. I thought he commanded the game really well. So for Wales, I thought having him in there like really gave him an upper hand as well. Like just tactically, I thought he was excellent. I thought Faletau
was class.
That's the best I've seen him play.
Everyone keeps writing him off. He keeps coming back.
You can't just even like. I know he's physical, but like even his skills alone are class. He almost got the offload to Davies to score in the corner as well.
He did all the work. Like
Davies should have caught it. Like, you know, but yeah, I thought he'd a massive game as well.
Yeah. The work rate, you quite similar in the work rate in defence. He's just so fast, man, aggressive. Like that chase where I don't know who it was. Jaminet caught it and Faletau just chasing down into 22, pulled him down, which is amazing. Like as a back row.
Yeah, especially for the size of him as well. Like I think about 6'5", 6'4".
He's a big boy.
He's a big man, and the amount of work rate he gets through is massive. Like, and then I have like Aldrit on the other side for France, who is a juggernaut as well. Like I think
he didn't have a great game.
He didn't have a great game, but like I just think even just like you say, like hitting rucks and stuff, just doing your job, I think goes a long way as well as a back row.
Yeah, he definitely was a big difference yesterday for Wales, and I'm disappointed now they didn't get the win because it would have been so much easier for us to get.
But if you look at next week, if France, I know it's going to be completely different kettle of fish because it's a Grand Slam on the line and it's in Paris. Yeah. But if France played any way like the way they played against Wales, and England played the way they played against Ireland, England win that game all day long.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. That's what I said. Like, but I'm hoping it as well. Obviously, I even thought Dupont was a bit off as well. Like, you know, he got subbed off, I think. Was about 10-15 minutes ago.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, he barely comes off.
Did he get hurt?
No,
he doesn't. Like he just doesn't really come off for France.
Never
you know?
comes off.
Did
Never
they
been
sub them
injured
off, like,
either,
it was
really,
just
does
a
he?
Yeah.
big call, like, because he
It was a
wasn't
massive
playing well.
Yeah.
What do you think went wrong for France then in the last 20 minutes? What,
I
I
don't
just
know,
think
maybe
they
the
sat
pressure
back.
got them
did
this.
Wales just up their game a little bit? Like Liam Williams was very good. He had a bit of a shaky start at the beginning,
Yeah.
but then really sort of
Yeah.
got into it towards the end.
Yeah, that's his best game in
It
succession.
was
Sorry, I
his
think.
kicking
Yeah.
was outstanding, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just the attrition of the Wales, just old school Wales, just hard hits, a lot of effort, like, and just France couldn't really. Well, they did hold on, but nearly didn't. There was another 5 minutes, like, who knows what could have happened. But I suppose it goes down to last weekend anyway, really, doesn't it?
It's it's Wales, the Principality, like that place is a fortress. Like, it's
Yeah.
the atmosphere inside there is ridiculous. But
Exactly. We move on to the last game then. Scotland were over in Rome.
yeah,
And they they didn't hock him in the end. I watched it, and Scotland were dominant,
true.
but Italy scored 2 tries at the end to kind of make the scoreline a bit more flattering towards them. It's 33-22.
Yeah.
Did you watch the game, Conor?
Yeah, I watched most of it anyway, and I watched the highlights there before I came in. It was actually a pretty entertaining game in the end.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of good
Yeah.
tries.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I thought it was good like that. Like it was like I think it was Scotland scored like an 80-meter try, like a 50-meter try. I think the hooker came down, like nearly ran like a 50-meter try in as well. The Scottish guy, but
Yeah.
it was pretty entertained, and I think they had Italy's they had this like young. What age was he?
George Turner was his name.
Capozzo, he plays in the. He's originally French. He plays in the D2. He's 23 or 22.
Is he?
Looks
Yeah,
12.
Yeah, I saw a post. Someone was like, "This guy looked 12," and I was looking at the picture. I was like, "What age is he?" Because they had a really young winger that came on during the Six Nations as well.
Yeah.
Did they? Like it's like 19 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he came on and scored 2 tries. He's actually really good.
Really good
But,
tries.
He was
as well.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's like good finishes and stuff. But I thought it was actually like rugby wise, like maybe like not the most impressive game, but I think just like the tries and stuff I thought were pretty entertaining.
It was really entertaining. Like Scotland definitely took their chances when they could.
Yeah.
And like I know I spoke about Hogg a couple of weeks ago and I was like, oh, he's so bad sometimes. But like I have to give him credit to due. He was very, very good this week.
He was, yeah.
Interesting
I
point
hate
in
to
that
say
game.
it, but he was good.
Interesting point from that game. They were not to be confused with the Calcutta Cup. They were playing for a new trophy before called the I pronounce his name probably, the Kutita Cup. So it's Massimo Kutita. He's the former Italy captain, and he was actually Scotland's scum coach. So that's a new cup they're playing for
really?
the year. Like, so that's nice.
Passed away from COVID.
Passed away from
Oh.
COVID last year. So that's a nice little thing to
That is
have.
cool,
Like,
yeah.
and like people complain about
nice.
whether Italy are going to be in the Six Nations or not. Like, but this is another something for them to play for.
Yeah,
Like, because you know
exactly.
this could be something nice because Scotland are a team that
Yeah.
could aim for every year. Like I think is it 36 wins, 36 losses now they've had in the Six Nations in a row.
Italy.
Yeah.
But it was a
man.
very pleasing performance from them. They, very close score towards the end, but they had they played some really good rugby, like you said,
Yeah,
Connacht, and
yeah.
I was sitting on the edge of my seat because I thought they were going to take it.
Yeah. Both of them in Italy scored a try as well. They're like,
Yeah.
come on, lad.
Yeah.
You kind of have that soft spot for the don't you? Like,
Everyone
it's like,
wants to see him get a win. Like.
yeah, you're not like being in the dressing room. We've lost 36 games in a row. I don't like.
Can't have the same conversation every time.
But like
Come on,
for me, I always think like, what's the pre-match speech, or do you know, like, or like what's the end goal, like what's their target, like, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you can only be tricking yourself if your target's to go out and beat England or something like that. Like, you know, like what's like where do they get their kind of
I presume they talk
They
about
need to get Pat
performance
Lam in
and-
this and not be smarter. Look what happened with Connacht. Like there was a time when
Yeah.
people were saying get rid of Connacht.
Yeah.
And this has gone back, whatever, 15 years ago. And Connacht went on to win the league and Connacht are now like as good as any of the provinces. And
Yeah,
they were so far behind for a long time.
They've tried that. They got Conor O'Shea in there for a couple of years. Like, he's
Yeah.
a top quality coach. Like, so I think it's more so nearly their grassroots, and it's just going to take a few years for it to be built up. But you see guys like Ange Capuso, who scored the 2 tries. He's coming through. The
Second try was class.
yeah.
The second try was class. The guy who kicks, I can't think of his name on the top of my head, who kicks for Italy, he's unbelievable.
Oani's class.
Yeah, Oani's class. So they're coming, Joe. I think it's coming. And
Like Treviso won the
URC
Yeah.
last year.
Last
yeah.
year.
The Rainbow Cup, yeah.
And they're a tough team to play against, especially over there as well. Like so,
Yeah.
I think like the clubs in Italy, I think are getting better, especially
Yeah, yeah.
Treviso. But I don't know how that's going to translate into the international stage. That's just another step up, you know. So maybe I don't know if it could be change of culture. Or what is it? Maybe it's just that they just don't have the depth either. Like, you know, it's not.
We just stop talking about getting them thrown out of the Six Nations. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Just leave them alone. Like let them develop, let them get better.
On the Scottish side, though, is there anything that Ireland need to fear going into next week's match? From what we saw of them against Italy, like, Darcy Graham is one to watch. He's going to give us a little bit of trouble, maybe.
If he gets any space, like he's just gone. Yeah, so they're going to have to obviously maybe say double team or stay really high defensively to try and make sure he doesn't step back in because he's incredible.
Yeah.
But I thought Ali Price had an unbelievable game.
Man, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, which is like not uncharacteristic, but I haven't seen him play like that really ever. He made 3 clean line breaks, just looking around like he'd all the time in the world, and give a lovely pass out to Hogg for his try. I think he got the intercept for Chris Harris's try, which is if we're doing try of the week for Six Nations, that was incredible. Did you see that one?
Was that the 80-metre break? You know?
Yeah, so Ali Price intercepted the 22, ran up the middle of the pitch, nearly got caught, stepped in, whipped it out to the winger, then kicked it back inside to Chris Harris. Like, incredible stuff.
You know, see when lads make
very good.
When lads make them breaks, start panicking because you see how far the try line is away. You start having a look around, you're like, who's going to dump this off?
We had so much time.
Yeah.
He did really well. So, like, I think that's what we have to worry about. Ali Price playing well. If Finn Russell plays well, do you know what I mean? And then he's getting the ball out to Darcy Graham.
There's got to be no pushovers. There won't be pushovers.
Yeah.
They won't.
Finn Russell, he's a wizard as well. Like, you know, I've seen him for racing and stuff. He's
He's
amazing what he can do. He is like even how quickly the ball can go from his hand onto his foot for these little like chip kicks and grubber kicks through. Like, you know, so
it's not just going to happen next week for us.
No,
like,
not
these guys coming.
Scotland any pushovers.
But if we shot Scotland down early, put them under pressure, they're so prone to making those mistakes.
Yeah,
and that's what
true.
I'm kind of hoping will happen.
I think if we can just hold on to the ball, like, you know, in phase, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that
Get our
needs to
set
get
piece
better.
right again, yeah.
Like, obviously, but then again, like, it's like that, if the offload comes off, people are like, oh, amazing offload. Then when it doesn't, people are like, oh, what are you doing that for? Like, you know, so it's like, it's that kind of, it's that balance, because that's what Ireland are getting better at. They're getting better at playing through contact and getting better at offloads and stuff. I think if we can hold on to the ball once we're inside the 22, 10 metres out, I think we have to come out with points, like, you know, be a bit more clinical.
And tell me, like, what happens next week with the grass? So if France win next week, but we win as well by a certain amount of points, could we win, or does France just win?
I was actually listening this morning, so basically, like, obviously, of course, you get extra points to win a Grand Slam. You, no matter what the points difference is, if they win all their games, Grand Slam is done and dusted. You get extra points for that, right? So that's done and dusted. But if France lose by any margin, just lose, and we win, forget it, we don't need a bonus point or anything, we win the Six Nations. But if France lose and get 4 tries and get 2 bonus points, then it comes down to points difference again after that, and it gets a little tricky.
Because we have more bonus points than France.
Yeah, so we got bonus points in all our games except for the game we lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But we also forget as well, is if we beat Scotland next week, we win a Triple Crown.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like it's
not bad.
It won't be a bad thing. Like, if we could finish Six Nations with a bonus point win against England, a bonus point win against Wales, just about losing to France in Paris, and then beating Scotland the last day, you can't really complain too much, can you?
It's a bad situation kind of thing, isn't it? Like,
aim for the stars, though. I'm not going to give up just yet. I think something might happen next week, and we'll all be in the edge of our seats soon. Counting the points. Like,
we've been there before on the last day. We've been there. Look, we'll leave the Six Nations there. We'll move on to our favourite part of the show. Nothing too hectic here now, but we've got 10 questions here, right? First question up is a question here from Mark Chappie. It's over him. Mark the Chap. Who was your dream back row player from any era?
Any era?
That's a good question.
Has to be Richie McCaw, doesn't it? For me, that's kind of one of the lads I always kind of looked up to, just the work rate and stuff, and just the aggression in the pitch, and just such a leader as well for New Zealand for so long. So I'd have to go with that,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You
can't disagree with that.
We should have said
probably the greatest of all
time.
time.
That question, like, you can't say Richard.
It's like when people say your best player played against you, not allowed to say how Driscoll.
Yeah, always Go on.
A question here from our social channels. Of all the players you've played with, which one brought you the biggest intensity into training as well as matches?
That's a good question. Say CJ. CJ Sander, I thought he was excellent in training. He used to always pull me for like doing extra tackles after training as well. He's one of them type of players. So he was always a great trainer and obviously a great player as well. So I'd have to go with CJ's his work ethic and stuff like that. That's probably why he's one of the best back rows in the last few years for Ireland. Like, you know, the amount of work he gets through and stuff, and he puts that in training as well. So I'd have to go with him.
I'd always gutted I never got to train, like a call into training against Bundy or something, or with him. What's the energy like he has at training or in matches?
Yeah, well actually, but like Bundy as well, like, you know, but gone off memory, I just remember when I was a young lad, someone that like kind of struck me. I was like, Jesus Christ, like that kind of way, you know?
Yeah.
But like obviously I'm a bit older now, so I've trained more people, but like Bundy's probably louder in training than he is on the pitch. And I know people might not think that, like, you know.
Really?
But that's what makes training competitive. Like, he'll be hollering and everything, like, during training, you know, getting getting lads riled up and stuff. But that's what you need. You need a competitive environment. If you don't have that in training, you're not going to go out and do it in the game.
Well, even knowing you personally, I think the energy I'd say you get off Bundy when he's playing. Is just next
Look, me and Bundy like bounce off each other a bit now. Like I like the way he plays the game, like that kind of aggressive kind of physicality and stuff. Like he has a kind of streak on show. He's a nut job, but he's a good.
You're a nut job.
We're gonna have to ask Bundy about you.
I don't be hooping and hollering now.
Yeah, you quietly around.
Yeah, quiet.
All right. Next question is: so you've been around. You started in Leinster, then to Munster. You lived with me for 2 years, and now you're in Connacht and playing the best rugby you've played. What has been your standout moment on the pitch so far out of your career? Besides playing with me, obviously.
Have to be the Mary All Blacks game.
It's always about you, Greg.
Living to you is a bit of a nightmare.
Sammy
Arnold,
Some stick about it, something we can use.
Me, him and Sammy lived together for 2 years. Sammy's the messiest.
We used to clash a lot, didn't we?
Yeah. Two haters going at each other then.
And I got the camera down in the middle like this.
But just be cleaning everything around you, fighting like.
But so what was it?
No, I think we're talking about the Mary All Blacks game.
Yeah, the Mary All Blacks game. That's probably the standout probably game in my career, just from memory wise. Like I think I was only like 20 as well, so I was very young, and just the whole, obviously with Axel passing and stuff like that, it was a massively emotional game. Then the presentation before it as well was hugely emotional for everyone, and then I don't know, everything kind of added up to the game. Even the weather, it was raining sideways, but like for some reason that just made it even more intense and even better. So that was one of the, but no, probably standout moment in my career so far. I
remember being at that match like in the crowd, like, and I was like, I can't imagine like what it was like to be a player in the crowd. It was just to watch it. It was incredible being on the pitch, like, and going out and beating them then as well, like, and the whole thing was just. James Lowe actually was playing in that game for the Mary All Blacks, and you look back, it's actually funny.
Yeah, it looks a lot different now.
It's a bit different now, the shorter hair.
Yeah.
But no, that's brilliant.
You played well that day as well.
They probably made it a bit better.
Yeah.
If I had a bit of a stinker, I probably would. I'd have to go with something else. Like, you know what I mean?
You played well.
Robbie Jenkinson wants to know how many golf balls do you lose per round with your slice on the link courses of Galway?
That's my mate. So
thinking as much,
I always tell him it's not lost, it's just not found. That's saying I go on golf. Like.
Those links courses now, like, they're tough.
Oh, geez, that's right. You kind of tell yourself that, don't you? But I'll bring out a pack of balls, I'll say, for 24 around.
24 per round.
24 per round.
Two of each, every tee box, you know.
Good crack.
You've lived in all three provinces. What's the best city for a night out? Dublin, Limerick, or Galway?
Good question.
Oh, I'm going to get in trouble. What do I answer this?
I don't know how to answer. No, well, see, since I'd say Galway, but like before I even moved, I used to go to Galway from Limerick for nights out. Since I moved there, it's kind of been, obviously the pandemic and stuff, like I don't want to bring that up, but like I haven't really got to go out that much. But from memory, I always thought Galway was an amazing night out. And everything's so close as well. Like, you know, sometimes in Dublin, like your mates are like, oh, we're going to this bar. Then you're walking for 20 minutes in the piss and rain. So I'd have to go with Galway.
Yeah. We got a question on the Instagram stories about your illustrious, well-decorated Blackrock Schools Cup team.
Yeah.
I think nearly everyone you played with in schools played professional rugby. Incredible team.
Yeah.
So the question, the following on from that is, do you think that schools team would beat any other team in any era in school? Is what the question came in.
100%.
Yeah.
I have to back the lads. But
you rattle off some of the names.
Yeah, I think someone like tagged me in a tweet recently, and they had from the final they had the team sheet, and it was like Caelan was playing 6, Nick Timoney was playing 8, and I was playing 7, and then Joey was playing fullback at the time. Then Hugo was playing on playing the left wing. So there, but like even like
just that alone.
4 of the lads out of there after going on and playing international. Jeremy Lockman was playing Loosehead. He's after getting called into the Irish squad.
Yeah.
Conor O'Brien, was he there?
No, he wasn't. No.
He was in the centres, he
was in the centres for us. I like the lads from school, like Ian Kinsey, like they didn't go on. Jack Power played 13. I don't know if you remember Jack Power. He was in the Leinster Academy for a while. They went down to the Munster Academy. So he was one that went into the academy, and he just kind of chose a different route. So everyone kind of went into academies and stuff, but like I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 of them lads are playing international, and 3 of them played in the weekend, like, you know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah, it was it was pretty stacked. I think Caelan was like 15 or something crazy playing. He was in fourth year, and I think he was like a 3 months too old to play the Junior Cup again. So he came up and played Senior Cup, and he was like started number 6 for us, and it was like one of our best players, which is just crazy to think back. But like obviously, look, we obviously all know how good he was now. But I remember looking at him when we were playing. I was like, someone told me his age, and I was like, that's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. First I was like, that's a bit weird, lads, and then it's kind of like, that's just crazy. It's just so impressive.
You remember who was scrum half for you? Was it Charlie Rock?
No, he was the year before me. Another guy, Tristan Brady, he played scrum half.
The loads of Irish internationals played in that team. Like, just shows what school rugby's like now.
Do you have many from your school team now? Like how many? Like when you were playing Senior Cup, any come either out of sevens or pro?
No, it's actually sad enough. So we won everything coming through. We were like the Black Rock down in Limerick. Like we won everything, but not many of us played anymore. Being Garrod Lyons, who played 10, he played for Nottingham for a few years and played Irish sevens, and I played Irish sevens. That was about it. Everyone else kind of gave it up, which is sad. Yeah, Josh wanted to just go to the Black Rock team.
Greg still holds onto his schools highlights. He has them on the team there. If anyone wants to watch him, go search him, because that's his pickup line now.
We won absolutely nothing. But we had Dave Kilcoyne and Mike Sherry, so we had one playing yesterday still. So we got 2 pro players on it, but we won absolutely.
2 of the weirdest lad as well.
Two of the weirdest, Mike Sherry and Dave Kilcoyne. Like, he couldn't get anywhere, but at least like, Sherry got a couple of international caps.
Yeah, he did. I think he got 1 or 2. Yeah,
he had bad injuries. Kilcoyne had a good game yesterday.
He always does. Look, I think Killer's class. I rate him so highly. His carrying and stuff.
He's playing the best rugby he's ever played at the moment. Like 200 caps.
He's trimmed down as well. He's in better shape. Like, and he's just
that's what he tells lads.
Yeah. That's what he tells the women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We talk about internationals in that team, man. We need to get you into that Irish team, brother. You're playing the best rugby you've ever played.
Yeah, look, like I'm happy with how it's going and stuff. That's obviously the next step for me. I just need to kind of keep concentrating on performing for Connacht and playing for them, and then hopefully see what comes down the line. Look, you can't shy away from the competitiveness of the back row, especially that 7 jersey as well. Like, you know,
I think in any other year just gone by, you'd be into the Irish training squad at least minimum. There's just so many guys around there. Like, is it frustrating for you, or are you just like, I'm concentrating on Connacht and that's it?
Look, I didn't even really think about it then until like building up to the Six Nations squad. People start saying it to me, and I kind of start being like,
maybe I am.
Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And then they're saying, oh yeah, have you like chatted to like Faz or anything? I was like, no, I haven't heard anything. I didn't even think I'd be in contention. And then obviously played a few games and then got a bit of media traction. Then I was kind of like, geez, I might be close enough. And then I didn't even know the squad was getting announced on the day it was getting announced. I was just kind of clueless to it all. Then Jack Carty asked me, he's like, oh, are you nervous? I was like, what? And he's like, oh, the squad's been like announced. And I was like, oh, when? It's like tomorrow or like today or something like that. And I was like, fuck, I'm a bit now. Like, I was a bit. Then obviously I didn't get selected. I had a chat with Faz and stuff. So that was obviously a positive that came out of it.
Oh, it's good to chat.
It's positive. It's so positive that people around you are like, saying to you, this is possible. Like, keep fighting for it.
Especially for Connacht as well. Like, even like the amount of players we got into the squad this year is probably, I think it's been the most in a long time.
Yeah.
So, and obviously having Mac there, like playing regularly, Finley now on the bench regularly, Bundy starting regularly, and Jack's just so close to being there as well, you know.
Yeah. There's a nice tour coming up to New Zealand in the summer. Have you been to New Zealand before?
No.
It's New Zealand's class, so hopefully that'll be a nice trip for you out to New Zealand. Like, and get a couple of tests under your belt down there.
I hope so, man. You deserve it because you're playing the best rugby you've ever played, and I think you're top of the stats in the URC and stuff. Right? So just keep plugging away, and I think you'll get in there eventually. We're always saying it here in the House of Rugby. 100%. Get him in, like.
But I said, like, you got like Jack Conan as a test line on the bench, like that shows you what you're up against. Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's all you can do. You know?
Exactly.
Next one is a question in from Mark. Who it's a tough question.
My brother's name's Mark now. So
who has been the toughest player you've ever played against?
Can't be Richard McGaw.
That's tough. And probably Nick Williams when he was playing for Cardiff Blues.
Large man.
I remember because we played again before he retired. I think I was only playing professional rugby. Like, I only got my first cap the year before, and I just kind of played them over there. And I remember, like, it wasn't even a tackle. I was in a ruck, and I was like this, and he counter-rucked the thing, and he's absolutely whacked me. I was like, oh, fuck.
Something you want to forget.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh no. And then I remember just carrying the ball, and he hit me. I always remember he's always stood out in my head because people asked me that before, and he's always stood out in my head as probably one of the toughest players that I've ever played against. Yeah.
He was at Munster for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he get Munster, then went off and made a serious career in Ulster and then Cardiff then, wasn't it, after that?
Cardiff. He finished up in Cardiff then, yeah.
He was the size of a small car, like, honestly.
Yeah.
We had someone on before. I think it was one of the Ulster lads that came on and said Nick Williams as well.
Yeah.
That he's just hitting him. It's like hitting a wall. Like.
But hitting him is him hitting Hughes. At least when he's running, you can just dive his ankles and hope for the best. But it's one of them lads, you get the ball and you look up and you're like, oh, no, not that way. And you kind of keep.
So Conor, you've had the pleasure of being to 3 different provinces at this stage under a lot of different coaches, like Axel being one you mentioned. Who has been the most influential coach so far in your career?
Has to be Razzie, isn't it?
Is it Razzie? Yeah.
Razzie, 100%. Like so far, anyway. He just having him in there and seeing the style of coaching. I don't know if anyone's watched the South African documentary and stuff. Like if you even watch that, like that's him. Like, you know, he's not like putting that on for the cameras. That's what he's like. So I'd have to say him. I was obviously had like a start in my career as well, and have a coach like that starting your career, and I got on well with him as well. Like he played me a lot as well, which is obviously
gave you your break, or did Axel give you your break?
Yeah, it brought me down, but like Razzie kind of backed me as well because he was obviously there. Then when Axel passed, then he kind of took the reins as like being coach, director of rugby. But he just has a massive influence on how, like kind of mentally how I look at the game and stuff, and how he's kind of explained things. It's just he can get the most out of the players. He knows how to touch on lads' emotional strings before games, like, and he just, I don't know. It's just there's something about him. Like he's an excellent coach tactically as well. But I think from getting the most out of your player, I think he's a very good like man manager. Through that sense, he's one of the most honest coaches I've had as well. He'll tell you square to your face how it is if you're not good enough, and that's why you're not playing. So
well, he did bring South Africa. They brought him back to South Africa and they brought them all to World Cup champions. So he has
they were Munster as well. Like a small period he was there at Munster, like brought you to 2 semi-finals, a final and a semi-final.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think he would have won something if he's dead?
I think so. Yeah, I really do. I think it was such a pity when he left as well. We were building something massive back then, and it kind of just happened so fast as well, you know. Yeah. And it was tough. Like we were kind of left in limbo then, obviously for a while. We didn't really know what was going on. So I think so. Look at him, but look what he's doing in South Africa now. Like he's just only getting better. Obviously, he's doing his little like his jokes here and there, which like
he's the best character in rugby.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like I think rugby's kind of missing that sometimes as well. Like, you know, it's so
serious.
Yeah, it's so not PG, but it's so. It's just sometimes you can't have personalities in it. Like, do you know what I mean?
You're right.
So like I feel bringing that to it. It's a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun, and anyone that's getting upset by it, like just take a step back and just like it's fine. Like that's
the Alec Adus.
Yeah. It's bringing a bit of substance to it. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I find it gas when you run the water on and stuff. Like obviously when you know coaches, you find it funnier because you know what he's doing. Like but
and did him leaving Munster kind of. Was that a catalyst for you going, all right, I'm going to go to Connacht and start again?
No, not at the start. It wasn't, like, because like I still signed on for, I think when you left, like I think I signed like a 1 year or 2 years or something. I can't really remember, but I was pretty happy with how I was going in Munster. Like I really did like it there as well. Like I liked the group of lads, and I still do like I know it doesn't look like we play against each other, but like I have massive respect for the club. Like they gave me a lot as well starting off. So that's not really why I left. It was just probably the reason I left was just I wasn't playing enough, and for me to get to the next stage of my career, to obviously I had international goals. I always have been. I think every player does when they start off in rugby. So for me to give me the best chance, I needed to be starting
regularly.
Playing regularly, yeah.
And Connacht made the most sense. And obviously, look, it's benefited me this season.
It's been a great decision.
It's probably been the best decision of my career so far. So that's the main reason I left. It was just down to game time, really.
100%.
It's actually one of our next questions as well. We have Dooley, Murphy, and Byrne all moving to Connacht. What do you make of them coming to the club?
Yeah, unbelievable. Like we'd like obviously Connacht now. We've lads from every different provinces, different countries, you know, and it's a great mixture. Like, and it works. I know some people say, oh, lads from different areas, but like it works. Everyone's there for the same reason, the same goal. Like everyone. It's not like an unknown thing that Connacht have a chip in their shoulder, like, you know, most of the players do, and that's not like we don't shy away from that. Like you have to embrace that as well. So I think them come down. It's kind of mad. It's a depth we need. Like, you know, people talk about why like maybe we might fall off in some games. Like we don't have the depth like Leinster or Munster or Ulster do. We're getting it. We're getting there. And bringing them lads in is going to give us massive depth. And I think they're going to be great additions. And obviously nice having 2 more lads kind of from Dublin down as well, like, you know. So no, there's no cliques or anything in Connacht. Everyone gets on, and look, they're young, ambitious players as well, and they're gonna have the same goal as I'm sure all players. So look, I'm really looking forward to next season already. I can't wait.
And you have another guy coming, not just Dublin lads. You have a guy called Seamus Hurley Langton. Despite his name, he's not actually Irish. He's from New Zealand. What do you think about him coming up?
Yeah,
he's not even Irish qualified, I don't think, is he?
No, I think he's playing for
Manawatu Turbo.
Yeah. I haven't really seen much of him. Like I didn't really get know he was signing, and he's a back row, like, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
come here, it's competition.
Listen, like we need it as well. Like, and then obviously George coming down to the back row.
Yeah.
So look, like we said, we've signed lads. We're losing players as well. Like, you know, we're losing Papalee's going as well. Like, you know, so
Sammy's going.
So like you need to replace players as well, and hopefully it's going to be seamless enough. And look, like I said, we welcome anyone that wants to come to the club with open arms. That's going to add value to the club, and that's what we're excited for. Yeah.
Just look at Leinster, they're using 50 players a season. But speaking of Leinster,
using 50 players a season.
They're using 50, not losing. No, as in like they go through, like they use regularly, like last 3 or 4 seasons, they've used 50 players, 50 plus players in a season. Like that's what you need.
It's a squad depth, like, you know, and obviously it always comes back to the population and stuff in Dublin and stuff. Sure, look, they use 50 players. Look at many lads probably left and are playing in different provinces. But like, I think people, like, you need to start seeing that more in Ireland, like putting lads in different provinces and stuff like that, because there's lads that fall through the nets. I've played with players over the years that have been like I'm not trying to say better than players that are playing professionally now, but like I would have felt were like excellent players, like Craig here. Like,
Oh, you two stop it.
That was a joke, by the way. Yeah, but like you see lads like falling through and stuff, and it's just sometimes it's a pity, but look, like not everyone can get caught up. Like there's only 4 teams in Ireland. Like if you look at the Premiership and like all the teams over there, there's so many different options, like, you know. So.
Well, I don't know if you have the inside scoop, but like it seems like the Irish view are thinking tactically towards the Irish team, like, we'll move Conor Oliver to Connacht, we'll move Dooley to Connacht, and
Dan
Sheehan. I was hoping to go to Munster. Do you think Irish view are doing that, or is that just me speculating?
No, I think they try to keep players inside Ireland 100%.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if it's
the coaches talking.
If just moving there for the right reason, or just moving there for them not to leave. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could be moving.
Is it right in saying as well, if you look back a few years ago, there was a thing years ago where if you play for Leinster or Munster or Ulster, you can't join a province, and that's gone now.
Yeah,
that forbidden door is gone, and for years, like, you're a Munster man, or you're an Ulster.
Oh yeah.
That door is gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think even like I understand. I think that was back in the kind of AIL days, you know, like when the AIL was huge and the club you play for, and then like if the lads weren't playing for Leinster or Munster, they'd be going back and they'd be playing AIL.
Club,
so I think that's gone a good few years now, and it's good to see.
We have that in the women. I wouldn't go off to Munster and play. Do you know, like
some people are like that
in the women where if you're Leinster, you play for Leinster. That's it. You wouldn't go off.
Some people are,
but the men,
see that door's
definitely
open.
has changed. But still on the women's side, we wouldn't.
It's coming though.
Give it time. But look, come here, you've been a good sport. That was good. No, I enjoyed that. Hope you they weren't too hard, but
no, they were
nice enough. We'll move on to, we were already chatting about it. We'll actually move properly into the URC. Speaking of Leinster, defeated by Ulster yesterday. That's the first time since 2012 and 2013 season they've done a double over Leinster,
back to back.
And it's also that's only the second time in professional rugby history they've done the double over Leinster in the league.
No way.
So it's been like
18-13 they beat them up in All in Ulster, wasn't it?
All in Ulster, scrappy enough kind of a match. Mike Lowry was absolutely class again. Balakoon, two of them linked up brilliantly for one of the tries, but Ulster are looking good this year, aren't they?
Yeah, like the weather didn't really help the game either. Like the weather was shocking. But yeah, look, even going up there, like when we played them up there as well, I think they're a bit of a different animal at home.
Yeah, they're 9 from 9 games at home now.
Exactly, yeah. Their back three is so dangerous as well. Like, you know, even you mentioned Lowry there. Like, I think he's been one of the players of the URC this season. Every time he gets the ball, he's gone. Yeah, exactly. And then you're Balakoon as well. Yeah, it's crazy. But like, I thought it was a good enough game. Like, it was a bit scrappy. It was a bit stop-start. The weather was absolutely was shocking, as I said. So I think that affected the game a lot.
Yeah.
Great physical match. Our jukebox award this week was going to Eric O'Sullivan. Big massive hit on Jimmy O'Brien. That was
huge.
Really. It was a nice textbook tackle.
Yeah,
he lined him up, and there was nothing illegal about it. Good old school fashion tackle.
Yeah, poor Jimmy.
But a big win for Ulster. And I mean, you've got Leinster coming up soon, haven't you? So
26th of March, if I'm right. So we have them in the sports ground now. Obviously, we played them Jordy. We started well half time, then kind of just. I think they brought like Porter and Ronan off the bench. You like seeing them come off the bench in the 60th minute, and you're standing there like, oh, here we go. Like, so
go again.
No, looking like they were looking forward to that game as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had a few disappointing losses in the last few games, but that's when we need to target. Then we have them back to back in the Heineken Cup, so it's a good little it's a good little warm up game for us to see where we're at, where we kind of match up with them. So
sports ground, a different kettle of fish as well. Like bring in there. So that's your cauldron.
I think everyone kind of struggles there. Looking forward to that one.
Would you say sports ground is just different gravy? Like, you use it to your advantage. Like you know, people don't like coming there.
Yeah, 100%. Sure. I hated going there when I was playing Munster. I remember. Do you always send up the kind of like younger lads to play them games sometimes? You know.
Delighted, like.
Yeah, and I'd be delighted. Well, delighted when you get there and it's raining, but like now we just kind of embrace it because we train in every day. Like. It's one of those things you just end up, you kind of get used to it, like, you know. So yeah, we use our advantage, like even like just kicking wise and stuff. You know, the different corners. Then obviously, look, people struggle off the tee there. You know, we've Jack there. People always kind of spring up kicking percentages, so I always go put any other 10 and kicking in the sports ground every other week. Like, you know, like it's a massive.
They should do separate stats for sports ground.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's so hard, but kind of hopefully the weather's kind of getting a bit better and stuff. Because obviously, look, we want to play a nice running brand of rugby as well.
Which you do.
Yeah, we do. And if you can do that in the wet, like, you know, it's hard to stop. So
So we're playing again as well on Saturday against the Bulls. Unfortunate defeat.
Good game.
Did you mention that game, did you?
You caught it, yeah. It was 29-24 to the Bulls. Bulls were buzzing after the win. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
First ever time they played each other, like, and to beat beat a club the size of Munster, like, it's pretty big. It's a big deal.
They almost lost it as well near the end. Like, well, Munster never said die attitude, isn't it? Like they always nearly come back and pluck it near the end. So
I turned it off at half time, for honest, because I wanted to watch the Scotland match, and I was like, oh, we're after losing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's my own fault for that. They nearly came back and won it.
They did, yeah. It was good. There's just a lot of penalties and stuff like that. Kind of, I think the Bulls kind of got ahead. Man, Smith has a huge boot to 10 for the Bulls as well. He's like a very good kicker. So I think that kind of gave him a good bit of confidence. A few silly penalties here and there, and getting the lead.
Yeah.
But
they scored a lucky try as well, where Zebo rips the ball and then it pops into the Bulls player's hand instead, and he runs through.
I think they said it was an offload or something during the game. And I was like, because he would have been delighted with that stat, like it was given as an offload.
How do you think Zebo got on in the match?
Zebo actually had a good game, lads. He did, in fairness to him.
He did. He's playing well. Yeah, he is. I always a big fan of Zebo. Like, you got to play with him. Like,
I played with him for a good few years. Like, great lad as well. Like, he's sound, very family man. Like, kind of keeps himself a bit, but he's a good cracker in the place. But look, he's an excellent player. You know, he's just such a good finisher. Like, look at his try record. I think he has. Does he have the most tries in the league or something?
He's the most tries in the league. I think he's Munster's highest try scorer, and he's Munster's highest European scorer as well.
And he was gone for a couple of years.
He's gone for 3 years.
Yeah.
Some people might say, they're kind of walk-ins, but it's putting himself in the position to score the try as well, like, you know. So
of course, yeah. Let's go to a couple other good tries. Alex Kendellen played well. Yeah. He got himself, I think he got himself a try. Yeah, and Damien Delande got a little scrappy try.
Yeah.
I saw that. It was a funny old try how he ended up getting that. Like, it was scrappy isn't the word for it.
Yeah, lucky probably. The word for it. So I think two of the Bulls boys like knocked it back. One knocked it, then the other knocked it, and then Delande came in and just touched it down.
I love that. And it's one of those ones you just do it anyway, just in case. And it worked. Like,
it worked.
How many days would they go over to?
They're over for 2 weeks now. Like, so they play two back.
It's a long time, isn't it?
They work it so that they can play 2 games over there. Otherwise, you'll be not going over back for one game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you went over a trip to Africa with the old franchises, didn't you?
Yeah. I went over when it was like, I think it was when it was the Pro 14, the first year. The South Africa
Cheetahs and
we did Cheetahs and
forgetting that already.
Kings, isn't it?
Cheetahs and Kings. Yeah.
Southern Kings.
It's a great trip though, you know. Like, it's good crack with the lads.
It's tour, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think the Stormers for our last when we played the Stormers in the sports ground, I think they came over just for that game.
Really?
Because it was a refix.
12-hour flight, like, isn't it?
Because it was a refix. I think they could come over and play one game and go back.
Because how long would the flight be?
It's about 12 hours. I think it's like, but the only good thing is, and that's the reason they're in the league, is there's only an hour in the time difference, so you're not jet lagged at least. Because if you were jet lagged, you'd be a different story.
Yeah, I think the league pays for the players to. I think it's like business class as well.
You'd have to, yeah.
So that, I remember going over, like that was like the highlight of my trip. Like,
okay.
I remember going over.
Connacht yet?
Sorry,
Have you gone over a Connacht?
We're going over in April. Yeah, we're going over after the Heineken Cup games, I think.
I think it'll be a different tour this time though, like as in it's going over playing and no offense, going over playing the Cheetahs and the Kings is a different story to Stormers, Bulls,
but
Lions.
They're targeting them games. Like they know like these away games are going to be hard to win. I think they're away. I don't know how long they're away, but they're away for multiple weeks in a row, playing every other team. Like it's tough being away from your family, being away from your home, and having to go out and put like massive performances in. And obviously most of the like teams up here are these kind of top teams in the league as well. So I think they're massively targeting these games. You can see it in the weekend. Both of the South African teams at home won. So I think they really are targeting the home games.
They're competitive now, isn't it?
Like, it's like internationals and everything playing. Like look at the Sharks. Like like Khaleesi's there, like the Springbok captain. You know, it's crazy.
They played as well at the weekend. It was 37-20 against Scarlets.
Yeah.
So another really big game for them.
Yeah.
You'd feel for Scarlets a bit as well, wouldn't you? Because they just haven't had a good run for it.
Sharks are a good side though. I mean, they ended up with our try of the week. There's lovely no-look rubber from Hendricks and to send, let's pronounce this right, Afeli Fassi through. You'll see the try. We'll see it when the show goes out. But it's a really like no-look kind of little.
Yeah, it was kind of like a pass and then you just kind of dropped it onto his foot. Yeah, it was cool. I saw it.
Yeah,
really
it's a great try. Yeah.
But one more game, there's a game on, obviously we're filming this on a Sunday. The Lions are beating Cardiff 37-20. So as you're saying it there, like all these South African games that are at home, they're winning all these games. And there isn't a huge gap there down kind of the middle and lower. Like so if they win all those games in the next couple of weeks, like all of a sudden they're in contention come the business end, shall we call it.
Yeah, but what Connacht said there is they have all the internationals playing for them, like which South Africa are the world champions. Like,
Khaleesi and stuff playing the weekend.
I think Mapimpi was playing for the Sharks in the weekend as well. I think he was on the wing as well, like, you know. Yeah. So it's not like an easy task at all to go down there. Like I think some people look at it like they're a bit weaker because they've lost a lot of games here and kind of like wait a second.
It's a different kettle of fish playing down here than it is.
And then I think for one of the teams is at altitude as well. I think it might be the Bulls? I'm not sure.
It was Munster at altitude the weekend.
Yeah.
Munster at altitude. So that's another huge thing.
So the Bulls are at altitude because I remember we played the Cheetahs there a few years ago at altitude and like you can 100% feel it as well.
Yeah.
And the ball obviously travels a lot further as well. So like kicking off the tee and stuff is a lot easier, especially if they're used to it. Like, you know, especially with your man Smith there, like I said, previous like any penalties, I think he'll.
And how would the S&C's change your training program building up to going to South Africa? You'll probably see now in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll see now in the next couple of weeks. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure they tailor it to whatever.
Like you're playing at altitude, you might go into an altitude chamber or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I know we did that when we were going over to play in Tokyo. We went over to play in Cape Town as well. They brought us into altitude chambers and had us train.
The Lions did it as well over the summer because they were expecting to play the second two tests, but it didn't because of COVID. Yeah, they went into the chambers as well. Yeah,
exactly. It's tight. It's so hard, man. Yeah.
I hope you don't do that then.
It's really tough.
Yeah,
you've done it as well, Megan.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But
I did the oxygen one before. It was like the oxygen mask or something like that.
Where they give you a certain amount of oxygen.
I think so, Is that similar? Or?
Yeah, similar kind of sciencey stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we'll wrap up soon, but we'll look at a small bit more rugby news. Big one, someone we had on the show a few weeks back. Looks like Contepomi might be taking over as, not as head coach, as assistant coach, with Cheka taking over as head coach of Pumas. Cheka's been there in a role for the last while alongside Ledesma, but interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like he's a legend though back there as well. Like the players respect him massively. He's obviously doing good things in Leinster and stuff.
They'll miss him. Like they will miss him if he goes.
Yeah, I think they will. But like it kind of I wouldn't blame him for going.
Yeah,
it's home country now. Like I think that's the best honour is to be able to represent your home country. So
when we had him on, we asked him directly. Like I think I asked him, tried to get up, and he just started laughing. Like,
you can see like he's a very passionate Argentinian man. He was telling us all about his Argentinian teas and stuff, and just about the culture, and like he really is proud to be from there, and he loves his country, and he misses his family. And
100%.
He's telling us that his kids were back there. He's got kids still back in Argentina in school and stuff. So
Makes complete sense, man. Yeah, 100%.
You know,
it's like us trying to get Raj back now in the next couple of years.
we get him back. We kind of half touching it on our big piece of news. We were saying, like, guys moving around the provinces.
Yeah.
Something else that you said, you're just guys slipping through the tracks. But even there's guys now that might not get game time, even within the 4 provinces. We've got Jack Dunn and Rory Loughlin heading over to exit the Chiefs. Now that's something we don't see an awful lot of. Irish players going anywhere. We see a few of them off to France every now and then, but seeing them go off to the Premiership is a rarity. Like, we've had the likes of Sean O'Brien and stuff going over, like, in their so he went over there to retire essentially. Courtesy of UK, but like, it's an interesting one. Like,
do you think it's because they don't have their eyes set on Irish jerseys?
I don't think they're going to get Irish jerseys, but like, because that's something you consider. Like, say if you like couldn't get an option,
100%.
would you go to England? Like
100%. Like, you're kind
the
of
best rugby.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I just like, I think lads get fed up as well. Like, you know, you can get kind of just sick of holding the pad every week, you know. So I can 100% see where they're going. Like, that's maybe the best opportunity they have at that moment as well. Like, and they have to kind of to take one that, like, and I think it's an exciting move as well.
Yeah,
moving to a new
definitely.
country. I think that's a massive pull for young lads as well. They want to experience something new as well, not just a rugby, but I'm sure like moving to a new country is exciting and stuff like that. So I think 100% if they're not playing, I think go.
But even if they're at a stage in their career like where they're like dropped out of an academy at 18 or dropped out of an academy at 20. I mean, we keep forgetting there's only 4 pro teams here. It's nothing. Like, you know, how many teams is there? There's 12 in the Premiership plus the Championship, and then you've also got Pro D1, Pro D2.
Yeah,
there's loads of ways you can still become a professional player, but you might have to go a bit of a different route.
Exactly. I went to the IRFU charity ball on the weekend, and afterwards I bumped into Frank Bradshaw Ryan, who, as we spoke
There's a
about
great
him last
story,
week,
like,
got dropped by Munster. You were in the academy. You were around when he was around. He 20 got dropped, brought over to Navarre, built himself all the way up over 6 years to be captain in Navarre, and now Ireland are bringing him back. Like, so there's much more routes. Another good friend of mine, Alex McHenry, been over in Wasp last couple of months. He's like, man, once you get out, you realise that you're in such a bubble here in Ireland, like, which is a great bubble, but like there's so much more to. Sure, you're from England, like you know, there's so much more going on. So who knows?
You come over here and make carve yourself out a pretty good career, like you know what I mean? Like, and there's somebody says you made that was a big decision for you. That was a big leap. Some people aren't willing to make that leap. Like, if there's anyone out there thinking about doing that, would you encourage them to do it?
100%. Like, for me, it was an opportunity, like you said. You
Scary,
to
I'd
play
say.
rugby at the best levels you could. And at the time, I was playing for Saracens, but I wasn't getting into the first team. There was so much competition in the back 3. And I was like that as well. And I wanted to broaden my horizons and try it. And I was like, sure, like they said, you've got opportunity to play for Ireland. Like, I was like, definitely. And travel the world and play sevens. You can't say no. So it definitely was the best decision I ever made.
Worked out pretty well for you.
It did. That's it.
Worked out pretty well. Well, lads, unfortunately, that's all we have time for.
Yeah.
It's a nice, we ended on a nice happy note that we ended on. But hope you enjoyed it, Connor. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, man. Good to have you on.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
And of course, a big thank you to our partners, Bank of Ireland, proud supporters of the 4 Irish provinces. Until next week, guys, we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Joe presents House of Rugby, United Rugby Championship, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.